to do, I can do it. I can do anything.
And welcome back, yours truly, Anthony Parker Alexander of Keeping It Honest. What is next for that person? I'm telling you, it's time. Sean Combs, it is time. First, let's get your name right. Sean Combs, Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, Diddy, and Love, aka Brother Love. Whatever your name is, maybe there's confusion in that because you feel that in times of change in your life, it's always time to change your name. So what is it going to be now? Let's go back to Sean Combs. Come home, Sean Combs. I'm coming home. I'm coming home. Tell the world, I'm coming home. Let the rain wash away all the pain of yesterday. I know my kingdom awaits, and they've forgotten my mistakes, forgiven my mistakes. I'm coming home. I'm coming home. Tell the world that I'm coming. I'm back where I belong. Yeah, I never felt so strong. I'm back, baby. I feel like there's nothing that I can't try. And if you're with me, put your hands high. If you ever lost a life before, this one's for you. And if you with me, put your hands high. Your dreams are filled, you're rapping with the best. I'll be home soon. I hear the tears of a clown. I hate that song. I always feel like they're talking to me when it comes on. Another day, another dawn. Another Keisha, nice to meet you. Get the math. I'm gone. What am I supposed to do when the club lights come on? It's easy to be Puff, but it's harder to be Sean. What if the twins ask why I ain't marry their mom? How do I respond? What if my son stares with a face like my own and says he wants to be like me when he's grown? Crap, but I ain't finished growing. Another night, the inevitable prolongs. Another day, another dawn. Come on. Just tell Keisha and Teresha I'll be better in the morning. Another lie that I carry on. I need to get back to the place that I belong. I'm coming home. I'm coming home. Tell the world I'm coming home. Let the rain wash away all the pain of yesterday. I know my kingdom awaits, and they've forgiven my mistakes. I'm coming home. I'm coming home. Tell the world that I'm coming home. A house is not a home. I hate this song. Is a house really a home when your loved one is gone? And Blank's got the nerve to blame you for it? Come on. And you know you would have took the bullet if you saw it? That's right. But you felt it and still feel it. And money can't make up for it or conceal it. But you deal with it and you keep balling. That's right. Pour out some liquor, play ball, and we keep balling. Baby, we've been living in sin because we've been really in love. But we've been living as friends, yeah. So you've been a guest in your own home. Come on. It's time to make your house your home. Pick up the phone. Come on. I'm coming home. I'm coming home. Tell the world I'm coming home. Let the rain wash away all the pain of yesterday. I know my kingdom awaits, and they've forgiven my mistakes. I'm coming home. I'm coming home. Tell the world that I'm coming home. Ain't no stopping us now. I love that song. Whenever it comes on, it makes me feel strong. I thought I told y'all that we can't stop. We won't stop. We back cruising through Harlem. These old blocks. It's what made me, saved me, drove me crazy, drove me away, then embraced me. Forgive me for all of my shortcomings. Welcome to my homecoming. Yeah, it's been a long time coming. Lots of fights, a lot of scars, a lot of battles, a lot of cars, a lot of ups, a lot of downs. Made it back, lost my dog. I miss you, babe. But here I stand, a better man, a better man. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you all. I'm coming home. I'm coming home. Tell the world I'm coming home. Let the rain wash away all the pain of yesterday. I know my kingdom awaits, and they've forgiven my mistakes. I'm coming home. I'm coming home. Tell the world that I'm coming home. Someone home. Sean Combs, you are watching. Keeping it honest with yours truly, Anthony Parker. Telephone number. Text me. Leave me a voicemail. 216-702-3718, 216-702-3718. Email me, parkerman2011 at gmail.com. parkerman2011 at gmail.com. We thank you for supporting the show. Hit the like button, subscribe, tell your friends. We try to put things in a Parker twist. I think you already know what this show is about. Sean Combs. He's had a bunch of names, as I mentioned. And we're going to talk about the situation he's in now. So when people suppose they are your heroes, what do you do when there's a possibility that they can let you down? As a journalist, if there's something about one of your heroes that's kind of bad, do you talk about it, even if it's a rumor? Well, if it's a rumor, we have to clear it up, such as this case right here. We have on our show the story of Sean Combs coming home. We're going to do our things while you're watching the show, but we're also going to have Nancy Grace, because I kept trying to look to see who can explain this Sean Combs case right now. He's got allegations of sex trafficking and harassment, not paying people, messing around with people. And I said, what better person to describe all this but Nancy Grace? So we're going to talk about her. And she's going to examine this case with some of the people, the panel on her show. And we're going to talk about it too. Where are you in your life where you do that turn? We know Combs, and we saw the video at the top of the hour, top of the show. It was very scary. That's somebody who has so much power that you don't know what to do with it. So before we go into some of the bad stuff, let's talk about the good stuff. So his name, he was born Sean Combs. He's a father to 7 children. His first biological child, a son, was born in 1993 to fashion designer and stylist Misa Hilton. He attended UCLA on a football scholarship, and he graduated in 2016. So he had to be pretty much a good athlete. Combs had an on-again, off-again relationship with Kimberly Porter. I kind of remember that, from 1980 to 2018, which lasted from 1994 to 2007. He raised and adopted Quincy, born 1991, Porter's son from a previous relationship with singer-producer and Combs' rival, Al B. Sure. I remember that. So he pretty much adopted Al B. Sure's kid. Together, Ms. Porter, they had a son born 1998 and twin daughters born 2006. Porter died of pneumonia on November 15th, 2018. Wow. So 5 months before the birth of his twins, Combs had a daughter born to Sarah Chapman. He took legal responsibility for her in October 2007. Combs was in an 11-year relationship with Cassie Ventura from 2007 to 2018. We're going to talk about her. She's a very important person in this story. Combs' eldest sons both appeared on MTV's My Super Sweet 16, And he threw a celebrity studded party and gave his second eldest son 2 cars, not just one, but 2, on his 16th birthday. For his oldest son's 16th birthday, Combs presented him with a $360,000 Maybach car. Combs' seventh child was born on October 15, 2022, a daughter. Her mother is Danya Tran. And in November 2022, Combs and his second eldest son became the first father-son duo to have #1 songs at the same time. Wow. So that's interesting because recently he had another kid on October 15th, 2022, a daughter. So I'm putting all this out there, the good things, because if he is involved with some of this sexual stuff, the trafficking, the money laundering, scaring people, intimidating people, then how could he be, in some people's eyes, a good man? We are going to we're going to have a lot of stuff to talk about in this show. We're going to go back. Remember, you used to go with J-Lo. They were hot for a minute. We're going to go back and talk about the J-Lo Diddy timeline. We're going to give you the timeline as far as some of the things he did good, some of the things he did bad. The allegations timeline. How did it start? Celebrities connected with Diddy. We're going to talk about the song, Coming Home, the lyrics, what that meant. And we're going to discuss the legal ramifications of him right now. So I remember that song, Coming Home, when it first came out. And the one thing I liked about it, it pretty much made us feel real good. So this is what I'm going to do. You'll probably be one of the last people to hear the Sean Combs songs, because if the allegations are true that he's done all of this, then they may take it off the air. But this song, you think about it, it was written by Diddy, performed by Diddy and his group Dirty Money. And what had happened, one of these producers that he had, he wasn't supposed to give this to Diddy, which I thought was kind of interesting. He was supposed to give it to somebody else. And when he was about to give it to him, he already had a song for Diddy. But Diddy said he liked that. And then the producer said, you know what? I was going to give you another song, so we'll switch it. I will give you this song, and the song I was writing for you, I'll give it to somebody else. But Coming Home, as I read those lyrics, you think about that. One of his greatest songs besides I'll Be Watching You. And this song kind of was dedicated to Biggie, especially parts in there. But who did not like this song? It was a great song. Came out November 16, 2010, one of the greatest songs that year. And so he said, I want a beat that makes me feel like a white man in a basement in Atlanta. All right. So the song was originally written for T.I., but they decided to switch up. So in this song, Coming Home, he basically says, it's kind of autobiographical, and it talks about a couple of songs in there, if you notice that. He also talks about Missing You Big. When you listen to that song, he does say that. So there was a video. The video was really good. And this song was so popular. It was very popular around the world. Not just in America, but around the world. And this is what Diddy said. His own words. Coming Home goes to everybody out there who's going through a struggle or obstacle. I've been lost in life. I'm still lost in life. In the sense of trying to find your way back to that person who your grandfather or father wanted you to be. Sometimes you get lost through drug addiction, or you break up with your partner, or remission from cancer, etc. You struggle to find your way back to yourself. That's what Coming Home is all about. So I want you guys to listen to this song, because this probably will be, if you think about it, one of the last times you're going to hear this song, because when things happen in society, and if you're known to be a predator or even accusations, they take out anything that you may have done that was good. And it's kind of interesting. It's kind of sad, but that's what they do. So think about this coming home, because you may not hear it again if he's accused of certain things and they're found out to be true and it's looking so. But think about this. Think about what Sean Combs is going through now, and when he wrote that song, and if he needs that song now, and think about your life. When you get in a time in your life, you need a song like this, because rest assured, if he's found guilty of these accusations, you won't be hearing it again. So I say to you, and I say to Sean, that sometimes we need to sit back and come home.
The weekend of the 14th when the soundtrack comes out? If so, bump somebody. All right, thanks. I love you, man. I got my MTV out. Savage! I'm a savage! Oh! I'm a savage! Whatever I want, I'm going to get! Whatever I want, I have to get! Yes! What's next? What's next? I gotta get it. I'm not gonna stay fucking down. I'm not gonna stay fucking lying down. I'm not. I can't do it, man. I can't do that. What's next? Give me something else. What can't you do? I can do it. I can do anything.
Wow, there you go. Isn't that interesting? Huh. Which one is he? Is he the one where he's coming home, or is he the one that you're kind of scared about? Sean Combs, come on home. Sometimes we get so much stuff, we tend to forget where we started out. You think about that guy. That guy has had so many hits. He's had so many acclamations as far as doing things. He's had a good life. And as we talk about what's happening, because a lot of shows are talking about Sean Combs now, we're putting this in a different light, because we're going to discuss and have on this show. Her name is Nancy Grace, and she was an attorney. She's somebody who I have liked over the years, and she kind of put a different spin on this case. She's going to have a panel, and the panel she has will be talking about the Puff Daddy, the P. Diddy, the case. Some attorneys are going to talk about if any of this is true. They're going to talk about the documents. Now, I've had a look at the documents, and they're thick, the accusations as far as Diddy. But he has a lot of things to deal with. And we're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk when Nancy is finished as far as taking some breaks. But we're going to dwell in this and make comments as they're making their statements. So here's Nancy, and here's what we know so far.
This is what we know happened. Listen to Sydney Sumner, Crime Online.
On Monday, large teams of law enforcement led by Homeland Security investigators raided 3 homes belonging to Sean Diddy Combs in Los Angeles and Miami as part of a sex trafficking investigation stemming from accusations leveled against Combs in 5 separate lawsuits brought against him. The latest suit, filed in February by music producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones, details frequent drug use, a shooting, and several accounts of sex assault while working with Combs on the Love album.
That's what we know right now, but there's more. And I can tell you this much. When the feds roll up in armored vehicles wearing Kevlar, that's not good for you. That's not good at all. We're hearing a lot of whining this morning by the defense about, oh, they messed up the inside of his house. Boo-hoo. Listen to Dave Mack, Crime Online.
In the 73-page document, Jones claims that Combs forced him to solicit sex workers and perform sex acts with them as Combs looked on. Jones also alleges the rapper threw parties he called freak-offs, during which underage girls and sex workers were given laced drinks and assaulted. Combs' son Justin, producer Stevie J, and associate Brendan Paul allegedly supplied the women and drugs for the parties. The suit goes on to say that Combs' access to major celebrities, athletes, and even British royals such as Prince Harry gave him and his followers legitimacy.
You're seeing the cover of Rolling Stone with Combs on the front of it in his then new album, No Way Out. It says he's the new king of hip hop. There you see, that's when he was going under the moniker Puff Daddy. With me, an all-star panel to make sense of what we know right now. But first, straight out to Kayla Brantley joining us, investigative reporter, dailymail.com. Kayla, thank you for being with us. Tell me what happened, because we saw simultaneous raids. A lot has been made of that. Hold on just a second, Kayla. Let me go to Nima Rahmani joining us, high-profile lawyer and, more importantly, former federal prosecutor, a president of the West Coast Trial Lawyers Association and author of Harvard to Hashtag. Nima, thank you for being with us.
So we're going to have a panel. We're going to talk about the Sean Combs sex trafficking. And then you can decide whether you believe in that. And so also throughout the show, again, we're going to do a J-Lo Diddy timeline. The allegations timeline, when did it start? And some of the people who are in his life. A lot of celebrities have been included in this. One of the ones that really disappoints me is Cuba Gooding Jr. He's had a couple of allegations over the years as far as sexual assault, and now he's being brought up in the Combs situation as somebody who was really sex trafficking. You wonder how much of this, because Sean Combs is kind of being called a Jeffrey Epstein of the hip hop world. And you have Sean Combs, of course. You have Cuba Gooding, of course. And we're going to talk about some of the people that he is associated with. So stay tuned for that. This is a very interesting case. It's a very sad case. But this is just the start of it.
A lot has been made and a lot of whining and crying because there were multiple raids that went down simultaneously. Boo-hoo. The reason that happens is so when you get raided in LA, you can't call your peeps in Miami and go, quick, 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 hide 1, 2, 3, and 4, destroy 5, 6, 7, and 8. And P.S., run for the hills as if you had seen a monster. That's why it's got to be very carefully orchestrated and timed, very organized to go down at the same time for that very reason, Nima.
Well, Nancy, that's exactly right. And the raid in Los Angeles took place about a mile from where I'm sitting right now. I live close to Diddy's home. And, you know, I also know Aaron Dyer. I used to work with him. I respect him, but I think he's making that argument for the court of public opinion more than the courtroom. And you're right. There's 3 reasons why federal agents go in and they go aggressively. One, there's always a threat of violence, and Diddy reportedly has a lot of weapons, and this is a large
Hold
house.
on. Nima, look at your screen. You are seeing video that our friend Harvey Levin at TMZ gave us. They somehow managed to get in there and get video of Diddy's home, Combs's home, after the raid. And yeah, it looks like a storm hit it. Next. Go ahead, Nima.
This is par for the course. This is normal. Agents need to make sure that no one flees the jurisdiction. evidence isn't destroyed. That's why the raids are executed simultaneously when individuals are removed from the home, they're cuffed, they're detained. No one was arrested, but Diddy was treated just like any other criminal defendant or target of an investigation when these search warrants are executed.
Wow, if you look at that as they went through the house, TMZ, and look at that house, they're complaining, Puff Daddy's people or Sean Combs people, that their house is a mess. But I guess if you're looking for things and you're with the authorities, you have to tear up everything because money, drugs, it could be anywhere in his particular house or mansion. So, you know what, it wouldn't have been messed up, the house, if there hadn't been accusations of drugs and any type of paraphernalia.
Guys, what do you expect? The HSI Homeland Security investigators to be the Minute Maid and clean up after a search? Yeah, that's not happening. Guys, in the last hours, a lot of whining and complaining and switching of tail and gnashing of teeth because the feds, quote, left a mess in Diddy's mansions. You know what? With multiple, somebody spent a lot of money on shoes. Guys, this is from TMZ. Whoa, hey, I'm taking all that straight to the bank. I'm putting that on eBay and I'm making about $1 million. This is Combs's home after the search. Hey, I'm really surprised all the clothes are still hanging on the racks.
Wow, look at that. Man, there's a lot of clothes. I wonder if all those are Diddy's or some of his people. So interesting thing is after the feds come and do that, who cleans it up?
To me, that's preferential treatment because on searches that I have been on and conducted, nothing is left unturned. Not a thing. Every pocket, every coat, every drawer, under every bed, furniture has to be dislodged. You've got to find out if there are secret compartments anywhere because guess what? Very often there are. It's amazing what people will do to hide contraband or evidence. What evidence am I talking about? I'm talking about videos, potential videos of underage girls and boys in the middle of sex acts. Now, number one, an underage child, some jurisdictions under 18, some under 16, some under 15, cannot consent to sex activity. So even if they appear to be willing in a video, does anybody remember R. Kelly, for Pete's sake, where he urinated on a teen girl? Yeah, that's not consensual. I don't care what she said at the time.
Yeah, totally disgusting. Let's not forget R. Kelly. We've had a lot of people. Bill Cosby with the older people.
Videos that could easily be hidden, even if they are in physical form. For all I know, they're just on a computer. That's why every computer, every laptop, every phone, every iPad, everything has to be seized. And you know what I'm waiting on? Nima Rahmani, I'm waiting on that return. Explain, what is a return, Rahmani?
So before we go back to that and talk about what a return is, there he goes right there. Sean, Puff Daddy. Let's go about his names and the reinvention of this guy. So Sean Combs, Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, Love, and back to Puffy. He was born, though, as Sean Combs, born in Harlem, New York, on November 4th, 1969, to a model and teacher, that's his mother, and an Air Force father, who was later shot and killed when Sean was only 2 years old, so he didn't know his dad. Sean Combs rose to fame locally. He was a dancer and concert promoter. Still kind of pretty much is. In 1993, he founded Bad Boy Records. He's gotten, wow, this is interesting, 3 Grammy Awards, created the Sean John clothing line, and even created the reality MTV show making the band. And he was certified by Forbes as a billionaire. So Puff Daddy, we know him as Puff Daddy. Some might think the name comes for his penchant for smoking cannabis or cigars, but no. It came when he was a kid. He earned the name Puffy early on as a kid because he says he would huff and puff when he was angry, kind of like that video we saw at the top of the show. Using the name Puff Daddy, he recorded his first raps in 1997. His first song, Can't Nobody Hold Me Down, one of my favorites. It hit #1 on Billboard's 100 and spent 29 weeks on the chart. Wow. So from Puff Daddy, he became P. Diddy. Several years later, after the notorious B.I.G. was murdered, which came a little bit after Tupac, he changed his name to the abbreviated P. Diddy. Now, that same year, he began acting in prominent roles and became a movie star. I didn't know that he was in Monsters Ball. So the only studio LP released under the name P. Diddy is A Saga Continues, which hit #2 and was released on July 10th, 2001. Wow. So after that, he said, I'm changing my name again. Summer of 2005, he became just Diddy. So he says sometimes having too many changes gets people confused. And he found out that there was somebody else named P. Diddy. So he kind of had to change it, and he just started calling himself Diddy. And then more changes. He became Puff Daddy again. Goes back and forth. Wow. And finally, his new name is Love. Or you can call him Brother Love. He says he was only kidding. But when he was on the Jimmy Kimmel show, he decided and told him, I was just kidding. Just call me Love. Brother Love. So do these name changes have something to do with identity crisis? How does he have all this time to do some of the things he's done over the years? We're going to continue, and we're going to learn more about, wow, what a return is.
Ronnie.
So there's a search warrant and an application, and when the search warrant is executed, there's a return that's filed with the court, and it identifies all the property that's been seized. And like you said, Nancy, what they're looking for here is evidence of sex trafficking and the production of child pornography. Reportedly, if you believe these civil lawsuits, not only were they sex acts, they were recorded. That's a crime, both in terms of the act and the recording. And we're talking about mandatory minimum sentences. So it's just probably going to be a matter of days before Diddy is indicted, an indictment is unsealed. So this is all going to become public.
Wait. Let me see, Romani. Put him up. Romani. Again, you're reading like, you sound like you're reading out of the Farmer's Almanac about the crop report for next year. Listen, Sean P. Combs has been targeted. Now, everybody keeps saying he's not the target. That's BS, because these are his homes on two sides of the country. The people at his homes were put in handcuffs during the search, and that is SOP, standard operating procedure, so nobody gets shot. There's a lot of whining going on about that too. But in a home where you are looking for guns, you do not leave the inhabitants free to grab a gun and start shooting. So stop whining about that too. Combs is facing an indictment. I'm agreeing with you. This is a big deal. We're not reading the crop report for 2025. This tells me nobody is above the law. Not even Combs.
Oh, no one is above the law, and really the chickens are coming home to roost. This really started in November when ex-girlfriend Cassie filed that bombshell lawsuit, and she spilled the tea. And obviously Diddy settled it the following day, but really it was too little too late. Here's someone that was in a 10-year relationship with Diddy, and once she filed, she encouraged other alleged victims to come forward one after another. And if you believe the reports, some of those victims are already cooperating with law enforcement. And we know that there's enough probable cause because a federal judge signed off on these 2 search warrants. So it's going to be interesting to see what evidence shows up in that return,
Yeah.
what federal agents pull from those electronics, because that digital footprint, Nancy, I think that's going to be the evidence that puts Diddy away.
I think you're right, because you can discount, I can't, but some people discount eyewitnesses and victims. But when you've got it on digital proof, it's hard to argue with that dynamite combination. You were just seeing Cassie Ventura, and she's not some parasite tick hanging on like some hoochie mama that's latched on to Sean P. Diddy Combs. She is a star in her own right. You saw her on album covers. One was A Long Way to Go. One was Deceased. There she is right there with Combs. Beautiful and talented. Now, hold on. I want to go straight out to Kella Brantley joining us, investigative reporter, dailymail.com. Kella, again, thank you for being with us. It did all get kicked off with Cassie Ventura's complaint. Explain.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So Cassie was with Combs for about 10 years. And, you know, people are saying she's the one that started this off. And if she hadn't started this off, would she have continued to be around him? It's an interesting case. And some of the allegations, excuse me, as far as Sean Combs, again, that he sexually abused people, that he had people do sexual acts in front of him, that when people wanted to get away, they couldn't. Some people were scared as far as their career is concerned. Originally, she wanted to leave and said that she was going to let people know about what happened with her, and she wanted money. And Diddy said nope the first time. Diddy said nope the second time. And as soon as she filed those papers, he said, okay, I'll give you, and we're assuming about $30 million. Do not talk about it, and I'll give you the money. So she said yes, she took the money. She went to the media and said, we took care of it. He went to the media and he said it's taken care of. But it makes you think too, did she leak it out after she got the money, or did the money just shut her up? A lot of people are wondering that, because when you're fighting for something, sometimes money is not an issue. But boy, after she talked, he gave her money. It was settled, and they didn't talk about anything again. And now it's all over, being in the media. So let's continue with the Cassie situation.
Yeah, that was back in November, Nancy. Cassie Ventura, they dated for 10 years. She was actually 19 years old, and he was 37 at the time.
Wow, 19 years old, and he was 37 at the time, almost R. Kelly-ish. And they were together 10 years, so 29 and 40 or something like that. Doesn't seem bad right there, but she was 19, barely an adult.
When they began their relationship.
Okay, wait, Kella. Let me allow that to soak in.
Yeah.
She was 19 and he was 37. Did you just say that?
Nearly 20 years her senior, yep.
Go ahead.
And so
not
she called
judging
the
yet.
relationship. Not yet, but she called the relationship abusive, controlling. She said that Diddy forced her to have sex with male prostitutes and watched and recorded it. And in addition to that, she said that he forced her to do drugs and so many horrific details there. And that went on for 10 years. And that it all culminated in 2018 when she tried to leave him. And she says that he came and raped her. Now, this is exactly the catalyst that sparked all of the other lawsuits. Now he's facing 5 lawsuits with a lot of similar stories from these alleged victims.
Kayla Brantley, investigative reporter, dailymail.com, is exactly correct. New York, could I please see the copy we have? Look at this thing. It's huge.
So yeah, I looked at that, and it is big. It's very graphic. It's pretty much too graphic. There are pictures in there and everything accusing Sean Combs. And if people think, he's innocent, the media is just trying to go after him, society is trying to go after him. You read this. And I said, with a couple people accusing him of certain things and his back record, it'll make you think, okay? Too many people are saying this for everybody to be lying.
But significantly, what we've got highlighted for you, Cassie Ventura claims Combs Ventura in her home when she tried to leave him. Often punched, beat, kicked, stomped her, resulting in bruises, burst lips, black eyes, and bleeding. Blew up a man's car after Diddy Combs learned the man was romantically interested in Miss Ventura, forced her to engage in sex acts with male sex workers while and filming the encounter. Okay, yeah, that is a video. If it can be found, this jury will absolutely see Combs and filming the encounters.
Yeah, and I heard that part, which of course is sick, but then you've also heard about some people who do this kind of sick stuff, filming things like this. Why would you film this? And like I said, people love Diddy for a long time. But if Diddy's been doing this while he's being loved and getting other people to love each other, which technically they're not, then why hasn't anybody known about this? Why hasn't there been him supposedly being questioned over the years?
Of Miss Ventura being forced into sex acts with male sex workers, that he ran out of his apartment with a firearm in pursuit of a rival industry exec, demanded Miss Ventura carry his firearm in her purse, and introduced Miss Ventura to a lifestyle of excessive alcohol.
Recordings just got better. Hey, it's Dana from StreamYard. I'm so excited to announce.
Jay, when those things come up, you're watching Sean Combs, Come On Home, on Keeping It Honest with yours truly, Anthony Parker.
And required her to procure illicit prescriptions to satisfy his own addictions. I'm reading directly from her lawsuit. Now, remember, that is a private lawsuit. That is not a public government document. So you got to take everything that an ex claims against another ex with a box of salt. But wait a minute. Isn't it true, Kayla Brantley, that she sued him for about $30 million and they settled? Combs actually paid her off to get rid of the lawsuit?
They settled. Yep, they settled the next day.
Yeah, they settled the next day. But don't you think, okay, if you get hurt, there may be other people, if you've been doing these things for decades maybe, that are going to come after you too because she didn't get money.
Soon as the lawsuit was filed, the news broke. The next day, they settled.
So let's look at this. There's the timeline right there. Giving you a chance to read this. All right, and that's this recent timeline.
the lawsuit for an undisclosed amount. She was seeking $30 million, but we don't know how much they actually settled for. Both of them came out with statements saying that they wanted to settle things privately. But in Diddy's statement, he absolutely did not admit any fault. He said that this was handled privately and wanted to move on. He called the allegations baseless. And we've seen that pattern just now with the raids on his house.
Yeah, you're right. That's the same kind of thing they're claiming right now, Keila Brantley. Guys, this is just one of multiple lawsuits filed against Combs. Sean P. Diddy Combs, also known as Diddy, also known as Puffy.
So this is interesting because we really don't know, but we do know. And I'm talking while this thing is buffering. We do know that he's done some stuff, but will people stand up and for the benefit of not being maybe hurt, talk about this? So let's talk about some of the timeline of the accusations. 1990, starts his music industry career as an intern. And he worked under Andre Harrell. So that's interesting. I've heard of that guy's name. My background is in radio and some hip hop radio years ago. So some of these people I've heard of. But back then, 1990, Combs was probably an innocent guy. This one, which I think isn't innocent, according to a November 2023 lawsuit, Combs and the R&B singer Aaron Hall allegedly sexually assaulted an unnamed victim and a friend after a music industry event, then beat her several days later when confronted. Wow, so you're talking about something in the 90s, and Aaron Hall was in a group called Guy. Don't know if that's true or not, but this is what's been said. 1991, according to a November 2023 lawsuit, Combs allegedly drugs, sexually assaults, and videotapes 19-year-old Joe Dickerson after going on a date with him. 1991. It's not too long after he started out being famous a little bit. 1993. After being fired from his duties at Uptown Records, Combs starts his own label, Bad Boy. This label starts the career of Craig Mack, the Notorious B.I.G., Mace, The Lox, Faith Evans, and more. And I wonder what Faith Evans has to say to this. 1996. Combs was found guilty of criminal misconduct for threatening a photographer from the New York Post with a gun. 1998. Combs starts throwing his annual Hamptons all-white parties that come to be known as so lavish and exclusive. He earns the rep of being a modern-day Gatsby. Wow. Guests range from music industry execs and actors to artists, real estate moguls, and sports team owners. So he's at everybody. Jeffrey Epstein had everybody. And I'd heard about the white parties. So you wonder, did all this start at the white parties? April 16th, 1998. Combs was arrested and charged with 2 felonies, second-degree assault and criminal mischief in the beating of record executive Steve Stock, who says that Combs and 2 bodyguards beat him up with their fists, a telephone, a champagne bottle, and a chair. Wow. When Combs publicly apologizes, Stout asks for the charges to be dismissed. Combs reportedly pays him $500,000. The assault charge is dropped. That's interesting. And he is sentenced to 1 day of anger management classes. So again, is he Puffy? Does he have a short fuse? Some people say so. December 27, 1999, Combs, along with then girlfriend Jennifer Lopez, let's not forget her, and rapper Shine are arrested in relation to a shooting at Club New York. Combs is charged for weapons violations, but is ultimately acquitted. And we're going to talk about that. The J-Lo Combs situation. Remember, she was Jenny from the block. Is she one now that will talk about that? I don't know. But now, let's talk about the sex trafficking situation.
Profit. Shannon Henry, oh, by the way, you can find her at sasgo.org. Shannon, thank you for being with us. There are multiple lawsuits, 5 that I can think of, against Combs, all claiming sex assault and forcing the victims into sex acts. Now, that's one thing. 5 claims. And correct me if I'm wrong, Kayla Brantley, because I've got a ton of documents and information I'm trying to absorb. But here's the thing, Shannon Henry. When you have one victim, it's easy for the defense to say, that's a he say, she say. Like, what is that, the defense? It's a he say, she say. Of course it is. But when you have 2 victims, then 3, then 4, then 5, then is the jury supposed to believe they're all lying and he's the only one telling the truth? Actually, that worked in the Michael Jackson case, so it could work.
Wow, so that is interesting. But did it work in the Bill Cosby case? Did it work in the R. Kelly case? When people are saying they were sexually assaulted, to me, each case is separate, because you have had people that were lying just for money, but you also have had people that weren't lying, didn't want the money, and just wanted to tell the truth. The Deshaun Watson case, which was a buyout to the many people, over 20, who alleged that they were sexually assaulted by Cleveland Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson. Most of those, in those situations, those ladies, they were paid money, and the cases were closed. I think there's only 2 left. So is it all about money? If somebody's accusing you, are you doing things because, meaning you're paying out the accuser just to shut them down, or because you're tired of hearing about them? But make no mistake, anybody that alleges sexual assault, each case should be taken separately.
But typically in front of juries, a group of victims, such as in Harvey Weinstein, such as in Jeffrey Epstein,
Correct.
who do you such as Bill Cosby, what do you disbelieve the cadre of victims and choose to believe the defendant?
Right. We're seeing a pattern of abuse. We're seeing a pattern of violence. And we're seeing it over and over again from each of these people that are coming forward. And listen, he's an equal opportunity abuser, whether it was an 11th grader, a college student, or it was one of his chefs. So many people have come forward, even the music producer, to complain about his behavior and the trafficking that is going on. And let's call it what it is. It is trafficking. It's a $150 billion industry. It is abuse and assault and stalking on steroids, and it's the second most profitable illegal business in the United States, and he's an active part of it.
Wow, so that is interesting. The high stakes as far as dealing with these sex situations, there's a lot of money to be had in there, and sadly, people's lives are at stake.
You know what you're leaving out of your formula, Shannon? And everything you just said is correct, by the way. I remember my first human trafficking case. Then it was called statutory rape. The girl had just turned 14. I'm getting chills on my arm right now. And I looked and I looked and I looked for her. Couldn't find her. I went out every day. And I remember it was cold outside and I was straight out of law school. I had no money. I had the thinnest coat ever. It was so cold. And we would look and look and look. Finally, I get a call at like 6 a.m. in the morning. I race to the location. It's a flop house. Then on Stewart Avenue, which was the avenue at the time for sex trade and drugs. And I went in where they said the girl was. I looked and there were like 5 women. I came out like, there's not a girl in there. Why did you get me here? I need to be at the courthouse. And they went, go back in. Look at the one in the white boots. I went back in. Shannon, this was a little girl. She had the fake hair, the fake eyelashes, the bustier, the height, the mini skirt. If such as it was, it didn't look anything like a 14-year-old little girl at all. She looked like a 35-year-old drug addict.
Hmm.
Long story short, she had been passed around and used and taken from one place to the next and had, 15 to 20 men rape her a day. Okay. That's what I'm talking about. And if these allegations are true, Shannon Henry, Combs is no better than those two pimps.
And I would even beg everyone to see too that there is an institution, a brand.
And you're watching Keeping It Honest with yours truly, Anthony Parker Alexander, as we
brand, if you will, of complicity that he's created around him too with his, I call them bodyguards. That's
we have little technical problems throughout this, but we are talking about Sean Combs.
what the industry calls them. People that have watched this go on and been complicit in all of it and enabled it in ways by not acting and not responding on behalf of the victim and what they're seeing in front of them.
Well, what do you think so far? Should you be tried for recent crimes, or should you be tried for crimes that took place maybe a couple decades ago? We're talking about the sex trafficking, potential sex trafficking allegations against Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, Sean Combs. But does he have a history of criminal allegations which people just aren't talking about? For example, in March 2000, the first season of Making a Band, it airs, and it became very popular. He created bands like Day 26, never heard about that, Danity Kane, and they all were signed to Bad Boy Records. March 26, 2001. In a lawsuit, local TV host Roger Mills sues Combs, accusing him of assault, false imprisonment, destruction of property, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and a civil conspiracy. In exchange, where Combs' entourage roughed him up and destroyed his camera. Wow. As we have yet to be served with this complaint, we are unable to comment on specific allegations. Okay, so were they ever served with that complaint? That's just one of the allegations that we've been reading many. July 6, 2004, we're only in 2000, early 2000s. He had an all-white party, marking a new level of fortune and bragging for the mogul. Yeah, you got this white party with politicians, entertainers. 2005, Cassie and him, they met for the first time, and he signed her to his label. She was 19, he was 37. So I like this. This is interesting. I don't know about like it, but she signed a 10-album deal with Bad Boy Entertainment. Her debut single, Me and You, I remember that, is released, and her self-titled album drops the same year. According to a November 23 lawsuit, the vicious cycle of abuse began here. So she was 19 then. She alleges years of physical, psychological, and emotional abuse. She claims Combs forced her to purchase and take illegal drugs like cocaine, ketamine, and ecstasy, that he filmed her as he forced her to participate in sex with male sex workers in multiple cities for his own pleasure, in a practice he called freak-offs, and that he beat her on many occasions in retaliation for talking to other men, often with witnesses present. So where these witnesses are? Are they scared to say, hey, this is what he did? Or were they a part of this too? Wow. March 2007, Gerald Ratchenzer, he claimed that Combs punched him, punched his girlfriend, and tried to spit on another woman outside Teddy's nightclub. Wow. Benjamin Brathman says, it's just another example of an opportunist seeking to fabricate a lawsuit based on a flat-out lie to try to take advantage of Mr. Combs' celebrity status. So they're saying that it was a lie that was made up. 2007, May 11, Making a Band co-star Lorianne Gibson alleges that he threatened her with a chair while New Edition's Michael Bevins held her in place. That's a big allegation because you know New Edition, you know Michael Bevins. Has this been proven? Don't know. But again, man, his attorney says it's just another person trying to take advantage. And in November 2020 or 2023, Cassie claims all aspects of her life were controlled by either Mr. Combs or his management companies. So that's when she talked to him and tried to get him to give them the money. And he decided, I'm not going to until she filed the paperwork. And he said, okay, I'm going to get it done.
What's the difference between a service animal and an emotional support pet?
So you're watching. Again, keeping it honest with yours truly, Anthony Parker Alexander, as we talk about this Combs case, and we try to get both sides of the story. And it seems like one side is stacked against the other side. Which one's the truth? Okay, talking about the justice system? Well, we're trying to give it to you now.